Welcome everybody! What a lovely present we have for you today to present. Lovely it is. DIY dual speaker transparent speakers at that. Amplification stereo amplification kit for desktop by PEMENOL. And here's what the whole kit looks like and comes with. I already got a jump start on it because things just were a little bit tricky, we'll say, and I'm a little bit slow, we'll say. How about that? More the second part, not the first part. Anyways, so I got to jump on it, got to figure it out. Here's the schematics for it. Here's your blue board. Here is the black boards. Now there's two black boards, but they're not exactly the same, so that throws you for a little swerve ball, but you get through it. And let's kick this thing in the door. I got everything laid out here, already put in the 22K resistors, and have tested everything except for this, which this is no fault of much of anyone's, but when it came, we did have some whoopsies in the through the mail and on the cargo trailer over here and the boat ride and flight and everything else that it took to get here from the Netherlands, the lands way out, that just had she had little incidents here. You can see the speakers got a little muffed up, and that you can't, it's hard to, these things take, I mean, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of miles, and you're talking a lot more precious cargo than this. So, I mean, things happen. So, no one to blame. But the lucky thing is we can work through it. I got the stuff to work through it, and I changed some stuff out. This thing came flat as a pancake. The legs on it were, if you didn't know, you thought they were supposed to be splayed out straight instead of angled like they are. And but she looks good now. It actually fits right in the board nicely, which is very nice. And everything's tested too. The capacitors, resistors, even the LEDs. Got my fancy LED tester here, and I'm actually probably going to use this to make sure that I get them in the right way too. Gotta go this way, the other way. Oh, you know what's actually even quicker? Oh, there it goes. A quicker LED tester. I put them all the same way. Okay, so the positive is on the left. Yeah, so far. Let me mark them. These I marked by accident, it looks like. In fact, I might change some of these out to a to different colors, because I think it would look cool to do the red, green, red, yellow, green, you know, or green, red, yellow, however it goes. Okay, still all positive, pause, and come on. Did it just blow out? That one lit for a second, right? Am I lying? Am I a liar? Am I a big liar? Big fat liar? Oh yeah, that one's hot. So positives are all on the left, as this notates. That's why you see I turned it. That flips it. This thing's pretty sweet, actually. Unity, not endorsed by them or anything like that. That thing is just, it's quite a nice thing to have. I've found myself, I forget about it sometimes, and I'm just digging away trying to nook into something and get the other lead on. And I'm like, oh my god, if I just put that in there and just squeeze, that would, then it's beep, 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 beep. Oh yeah. Another speakers were like pushed together really hard, and something went through them. You can see right through, well, right through the speaker cone area there. So a little bit of damage, but well, it happens. So let's get slaughtering. Slaughter this pig. There ain't much more I can put in here. I gotta watch and see where everything's supposed to go. Now I can put in what we'll call the volume adjust potentiometer. That would be this, I'm guessing. And that is nice and in. I'm going to put some flux down. Got my little flux pen. Watch your mouth, I didn't say flux. Just give it a little dab on every spot I can. Just the littlest bit helps. I did cheat also, and you'll see why. And it'll make sense. And you did catch me. I did put the little IC, must be the little amplification IC, on beforehand, because for me to do that and to do it right and comfortably, I can't do it on camera. I would have to readjust the camera over to the side of my desk. I got a little, it's just a crappy little thing set up that I got set up for myself that works. Also, this is a little clamp, like a little hand clamp. Yeah. I got one right here. In fact, just this. That's all it is. But it's on its own pivot, so you can tighten it in place where you want it. So it sits like this. I got a heavy magnet with the notch in it that rides over this, so it actually holds it down and tight. And I just push down on the desk, which opens it, put in my piece, and I jerried it up so that it's really, really tight. I mean, you don't want to even put your fingers in here. It just really hurts. It's that strong. And it works perfect because it's totally stable. And that's what I found works best for doing stuff, holding the board out. And then I can drop my, if you've seen my little magnifying glass in that, with the, on the dimmer, with the dimmer light. You see it over, I know you've seen it in other videos, but yeah, that. So I look through that and I can see real good. Make sure I get every one of them just right. So here we are with them. Now this, I should be able to pop this. Woo, don't burn. Don't burn it. This should be able to slide in. Yup. Right there. That should be good. Get this off to the side. Wonder if that will show up better with the black, a white background instead of the darker one. If that show up better for you guys, maybe. Let me try this. Or is it gonna wash out? Yeah, I can never tell. Whatever, I'm not perfect. What do you want from me? Get off me! It's too much pressure. Okay, here we go. I'm just rolling along. I can't even see what the temperature is because for some reason every time I use this the screen gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. But there's a good thing along with that. I know that there's something on the inside that is like a weird connection or something like that, because I've had this apart before. Oh, that resistor popped right out. How did that get out so far? Oh, it's gonna get hot. It's gonna get really hot. Luckily I have a backup case for it. If you see, I got the wire around it and the epoxy to hold it and to tighten it down. Because I actually cracked it. Now, mind you, I've had probably 100 different times the new tip in here and everything else. So, I mean, it happens. But I do have a new outer case. I just got to put it together and put it on. I swear there was something that went with it that, that one I'm not going to be able to get, so I'll have to get it from here. That when it's something I did when I put it back together. I didn't have either a little pad or something in there that presses down on the zebra strip. I remember there was something like that, but it was fine. I could still read it when I was all done putting it back together. This is when I had it apart when I believe it would always just heat up to max and you couldn't control it. It was because the MOSFET shorted. That's inside there. I'm pretty sure I did a video on it. In fact, that was done under the lens with the fancy pants lens, we'll call it. But it is nice to see what the temperature is, especially with this one. I got it upgraded so it's got the boost and everything. It can boost if I need it. It's really been just a good soldering iron. In fact, if you've noticed that I do have the generic one as a backup, and I like them both. I really do. Oh, with the black, it's really difficult to see it sometimes. Like, looks like it's bridged, then it doesn't. So we'll do this in a couple parts. The one part I definitely won't be doing on camera is... Oh, I got a little trick to show you too for when you get these things in the mail, if you ever do decide to put one together, and they got the, I don't know what you'd call it, but it's like saran wrap that goes over the plexiglass. And sometimes it's really tough to get off. I took my little heat gun at like 300 degrees. I even held it right in my hands and just go up and down it a couple times to get the surface nice and warm, and then do it on the other side. Yeah, these things. The plexiglass. See, I did them all but one. I was going to do one. I'm not going to take these out. I'll do it later. But especially around where the cut corners are in that, it'll rip, and then you got to peel that and start it again. You could do it all, most of them, even like tough intricate cuts like that, in one shot. Just go nice and slow and work it around the corner. Honestly, I'll bet you I had them done in 10 minutes, if not less. Like, it went that fast. They normally never go that good. They always tear in the worst spots, and then you got to start it up again. Oh, okay. It's telling me my TV is going to turn off. Or maybe that was my multimeter. Yeah, probably my multimeter. I'm not sure. Check this. The resistors don't matter for polarity. Neither do the capacitors, except unless they're electrolytic. And electrolytic capacitors, there is an exception with electrolytic. It's a very rare exception, though, that you find that they're polarized or non-polarized. Why did I just say that? So with your capacitors, you got to make sure you get them in the right way. They'll always mark on the board. They'll leave little spots, little hashtags. Let's see if I have any. Yeah, if you look on this board, I use for pointing. If you look on this board, the little shaded spot is for your negative, and then your positive goes where the positive sign is. And if you look at a capacitor and it's got the shaded side with the negative, that's the negative side. The long leg, the long lead, is your positive side. So you always go with your positive leg, because it's longer and easier to start that way. Start with your positive leg first, go in through your negative, bada bing, bada shboom. Now if that's the right one for there, I gotta look it up. I gotta make sure they're in the right spot. I better not mess around. Put it back. Don't mess it up, fool. Alright, this board looks good. We'll get the wires. There's a lot of wires that run in and out of this, obviously. Speaker wires. We got our power in, power out. So that's times 2. Right, left, and ground. And then SW1. That's got to be our switch. So that's going to be probably our wiring for our switch. Turn it on and off. Again, here's another board. If you see where it's dashed, it's a black capacitor, and then it's got this gray mark, and it's got a little negative symbol on it. That's the negative side, and that'll be shaded on the board. They're nice enough to do that for you. Mighty nice of them. Once I get this done, I'll scrub it real good. I'd rather use more than enough flux to where I gotta scrub it to make it look better, instead of just the opposite where I'm fighting to get the solder to flow and don't seem to want to work right and stick. I'd rather have it do that, flow and look good, or flow and look kind of shabby, and then just come through and clean it up. That's a lot better. And that's what the flux will do for you. Quite a bit on that one. It is. It's I've heard other. They're so right when they say it's soothing. It is. It is soothing just to kick back, get all your components in, pop the video on, and have a video and just solder. It's kind of very soothing, simple soothing. Not much to it, and it's getting it done. I did forget to check that other board to make sure everything looked alright. I thought I did, but I should have looked at it a little better if I did. Make sure there's nothing out of standing up sideways or something like it shouldn't be. I didn't bridge that, did I? No. Good. How do they look? Oh yeah, the 104 capacitor, 105, 1 microfarad is what that was. This capacitor C1, that is marked different on the board. It's just marked weird. C2 is 104. Instead of putting 105 there, they put 1 microfarad, and it's these little, I call them little muscle head. They look like little, they're flexing, you know. But the legs on them are like this, real stiff, and you have to crunch them in and then bend them back out to make them fit. If you look, you can see right there. Yeah. You guys see that? So that's a oddity, but it works. It makes them work. They're happy. They're happy to work. Whatever you do, don't let these things go flying, because they will end up in your foot or in your leg, or scratching the bottom of your foot, and you're like, what? It's in your sock, and what in the heck is going on, and you can't find it. Yep, been there. The worst is wire brush. The wire brush filings. Them are the worst. They'll get in your socks and it just gets stuck in there. They dig right in, and then they go through the wash, come out, and you put the sock on, and next thing you know, something's itching you and you cannot find it. It's impossible to find it, but that's what it is. You'll pull it out and it actually looks like one of these, just a little curled up. That's what it is. And they will just, but if you stomp on one, oh, do they hurt. Stainless steel especially, ooh. I know, working with, doing fence, like chain link fence and all just different kinds of fence, when you come across, you knew when you get, how would I call it? You get stung by stainless. You could tell it would burn like crazy when you get cut by it. Something about the stainless, it burns, and boy does it burn. Now here's the what was it, a dual inline package dip. I guess dip makes more sense, right? You got the little notch right here. You want to match that up with the squared oddball one. What did they say? Yeah, this is just... You know what? It might be a resistor package. I'll bet you it is. 1053. Hard to tell. I can't tell. What else we need? LEDs. You know, I'm not going to mess around. I seen the blue. They do look really cool. I got to give them that. I can't mess around and be changing it up too much. So let me whack these in. Try to get as much of this. I definitely ain't going to be putting the glass together and all that for you. But maybe we'll get a bunch of the rest of this done. C6 and C5. That's polarized, so it's two of these. Negative is there. There's the positive is the long. So start in the positive hole. Then do the negative. Boom. Do the positive hole first, then the negative. Boing. R3. R3 is 10K. If you look, I got my little cheater sheet here. I wrote them down because it makes it a lot easier that way. Trust me, instead of trying to figure it out on this mess. Eesh. I did say R3, correct? Yes, 10K. And again, I got these all labeled over here and tested them. Do the inside one first. Typically when you do these, you want to do the smallest to the board components first and then your bigger components. I'm just going to do them all at once. Knock them out quick. And I said R4. What is it? R4. R4 is 1K. Yeah, and a bigger board, if you try to, you won't be able to get them all done and all at once. We'll do the LEDs last, so I make sure they stay in. I'm going to hit this IC up. Make sure it stays in too. Come on, either hold it or don't. Don't play with it. Sitting there flopping around like a dead fish. Alright, them are in there pretty good. This one wants to fall out. I should have grabbed my little fume extractor. I usually have a fan going down here anyway in the basement, but I didn't even turn that. I should have turned that in. And I forgot the flux anyway. I meant to do it after I did that first pin on that. I'm going to call it it's a dual inline resistor package. Them are, I believe, from the old days, the original ones. Oh, the flux is pouring out of there now. Still didn't get this one in. I think the good flux is the flux that you get on your hands and your hands are just stickier than crazy. I think. I could be wrong, but it seems to work about the best for me. See where you get that hole on the backside? That's what you don't want. I don't like. That's why I always, you'll see it go whoosh around the pin. It circles it whoosh, but then you'll have like a butt seam, you could call it, on the back side. So it circles it and goes like this because it's two opposite molten pieces of chemistry, we'll say. And then I just take it on the back side and touch in between them. And it's almost like stick welding when you see the two metals. How do you say it? You can see the line that makes the two metals, and they're both molten, but they're not combining. And you just take your stick with your stick welder, and you just go like that, and it takes the metals and actually mixes them together then, and it combines them and binds them together. At least that's how I was taught to stick weld. That's like one of the finer points of stick welding, is when you can see that, because at first you're just trying to hit the damn thing onto the metal and make sure it sparks and see what you're, just remotely keep it going, you know. But you get used to it. Start looking for where you see the metal. One metal gets molten, turns molten, and starts to globulate, and it turns into a liquid and starts moving. What's going on here? Coagulates. I don't think coagulate's the word. Coagulate is gel up, isn't it? So you do that with one side of your metal, and then the other one you're welding to it. You do that with that one. Then you have enough heat there with both of them, and you just dip it in there and mix them together. Who knows? I'm no welding. My dad would be the one that should do that. He's good with that. Very good with it. I wish I knew half about it as he does. Alright, cool. LED time. And I'm going to cheat and put my flux down first, because that makes it easier. How long are we going here? Wow, 27 minutes. Holy man. I mean, it's just like, wow. Okay, the negative is the cathode. The anode is positive. The negative is the slash. Where the slash is. So positive is here. And also your positive is your longer side. Again. Positive. Positive. Now, do I want these tight, or do I want them to set up a little bit? If you get them up off the board a little bit, sometimes you can let them, they cool off quicker, will last longer. Or it even looks better sometimes if you got them acting as like a light pipe. I think these are just going in to cut out holes, aren't they? Pre-cut holes, alright? So I guess it would be cool to have them stick out a little bit. Have them bug eye. It's just going to be hard to have them all be the same without making a production of it. We'll just do that. We'll just bring them up a little bit. And the last one's going to be the pain in the ass one. This.